share first. We're going to start from the beginning. I also sent a lot of information, some downloads, the download of the actual book, How to Start a Cleaning Business in 7 Days, just from the beginning. But we're going to go through some things, cover some documents, and this is just part one. So part one of How to Start a Cleaning Business is generally from us starting the business, the concept, policy, the industry itself, pricing, and even growing into hiring someone. And then part two is actually really getting it out there, the next level, whether we're partnering or bidding, marketing, and staying busy, things like that. It's really making the money and scaling. So this is part one. I'm Coach Shey, a business 911 and a clean as can be. I've been in the business 23 years. That is where my expertise come from. I now teach cleaning businesses all over the US. It's been, some people know me from the cleaning business because I have a group on Facebook called The Cleaning Business of about 12,000 cleaning professionals. And I educate cleaning. So if you go on Facebook and you see let's see, let me show you real quick so you can actually know it when you see it on Facebook. Let me show it to you. So that when you go to Facebook, make sure you join. And I do a lot of, and one of the things about this group, it has allowed me, since I've started it some years back, to see what other cleaning professionals' issues are. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just looking from my point of view, I'm looking from thousands of other cleaning professionals' point of view. Because now I get to see what their needs are, you know what I'm saying, how other people are solving that problem, things like that. So this is the cleaning business group that I have on Facebook. So you can join this group, get information, get tools and tips and things like that.
Oh, okay. Just did.
Okay, awesome. Cool. All right, so this is not the one. Oh, all right, so I went into the wrong one. That's bad because when you got too many tabs up. All right.
So can I ask you a
absolutely,
question right quick?
you sure
So
can.
when I'm looking at the website and I see people asking questions and then I see people answering. So it's like anybody can answer the questions, not
Anybody
just
can
you.
answer the question, right? The group is very open. I approve all of the posts that go through, but I let professionals from wherever, because some people are in the industry. That was one of the things that allowed the group to grow, because this is the thing, I didn't want it to always be dependent on me.
Right.
So I let professionals help each other, help each other, and the group to run itself, so I can just sit back and learn for a long time. I wanted to just see what people who were startup who was saying, what experts were saying, because I'm only one person and I only could be in one place. So I wanted to see what people, how they were solving problems. So I wanted all people to answer these problems and then not just me. So I stepped back and just watch a lot of it.
Okay.
And then I go in afterwards or I have my coaching in my school. So, but yeah, anyone can ask questions. They can say, this is this, but you really get to see who's who and how long who's been in business and, who's not, a lot of people are just starting out, but a lot of people got the same problems. So it's crazy about that. Okay. So welcome. So let's talk about, all right, so I'm going to mute this. Hold on. All right. All right. So we got these are three things that we're going to learn. Why you should be in business, what it takes to be in business, and how to get started with as little as $50. When I got started 20 years ago, I started with as little as $50. And this is not even about the times and what prices was like in $50. It was my perspective and how I saw it and what I looked at my tools. Because one of the things that I learned in business, and a lot of people who are successful in business navigate, is fact over feelings. When you're in business, there's no room for your feelings in business. Most of your decisions in business have to be logical, and it can't be based on feelings. The only person in business who should have feelings is your consumer. And based on how your consumer is feeling is how they spend. So if us on the business side, as long as we're in the right place, we're going to catch the business based on how they're feeling when they go out to spend. If they're hungry and they're sad, they feel like they need to be entertained, whatever that is, they're going to spend money behind the need that they feel. So the business owner needs to be in the right place at the right time when it comes to that. So how you see things plays a big part in it when it's coming to growing your business, where perspective is everything. So when it came to life, for instance, you might say, well, you know what? Things are going bad in my life. My back is up against the wall. I'm about to get evicted. They're about to take my car. Woe is me. Trauma is here. Things are not going well for me. Life is over. So this is what you're telling me as far as how you see it. You see trauma. And then I take your trauma and I do lift with your car and make $2,000. I sell plates out of your house. And I end up making about 6 or 7K with what you thought was trauma, I thought were tools. And it was just a matter of perspective and how I saw things. So that $50 doesn't mean anything depending on how you see it. And, really kind of doing the research and knowing what you can do with what you have. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we don't put credit and really take use of the tools that we have. So that's very important to make use of that in business. So welcome to the cleaning business. Why the cleaning business? I always ask people why the cleaning business. These are the top 4 reasons I get why people consider the cleaning business: to employ others, to make more money, to leave a legacy, or it's easy to start. So you get a lot of people want to employ people. They love people. They want to put people to work. They find a population of people who they feel have a hard time finding employment. So they want to give them jobs. Okay, so they say, okay, well, let's create that within the cleaning business. They're looking to make more money, and this may be an easier way to jump right into something with not having to have a whole lot of mental skill and certifications and things like that. And then you get some who want to leave a legacy. Now, this is the thing about leaving a legacy. Let me ask you this. If you say you want to leave a legacy, you have to think about the kind of legacy you want to leave. And we'll talk about that, because there's 2 different kinds of legacy. There is a Sam Walton type of legacy, and then there is a Martin Luther King type of legacy. Sam Walton left his family a financial legacy where they will never, ever need money for the rest of their lives. Where Martin Luther King gave us a cause, gave us a mission, gave us a reason for X, Y, Z, and it's still just as impactful, but it's a different kind of a legacy. So you have to decide an income. Your impact can make money, but you have to navigate it in a certain manner for it to win in your favor. So we have to, put things in place, systems, things like that, and we'll talk about that. And number 4, because it's easy to start. The cleaning business is definitely an easy business to start. It's a lot of it's easier than some other businesses where it just be some supplies, some skill, and you getting out there really taking the initiative to put yourself out there to call for action for some services. Hey, I sell cleaning. Hey, I'll clean your windows. Hey, I'll clean your house. Whatever that looks like for you in the cleaning business. So those are the 4 top reasons, even though there'll be a lot other reasons of why people start. Those are the reasons why some people start. So who should start a cleaning business? Someone who has an eye for detail. That's a money maker. If you have an eye for detail, that's very important. That's me. I don't know if it's because I'm looking for error, imperfection. I don't know, but I have an eye for detail. I'm someone who is a people person. If you are a people person, it will definitely get you a lot of business, because we are in a trust business. We are in a business that relationships matter. So it's important if you are a people person, even to the point if you want to grow and you want to go into the next level, it helps to be good at being a team leader. Super important. So being a people person helps. Someone who believes in customer satisfaction is like your $1 million check for your business, because if you can undersell and over deliver, and if you are always trying to make sure that your service is of excellence and you are moving in excellence, then I mean that's the name of the game. Convenience, we can count on you, and you're going to do A+ work. You know what I mean? So sometimes money is not even an issue for some. As long as they can count on you to do the job, you're going to show up and they can trust you. Hey, customer satisfaction is the name of the game. And again, being a team player helps with that people person thing. Unless you plan on being a one-man show in this game for quite a long time, it helps to be a team player. Even if you're going to have somebody work with you through the cleaning, you'll have to be a team player with your clients. It's just one of these things that you should learn on that skill if you don't already have that team player skill with you. So what should you consider before starting a cleaning business? Things to consider is time. What kind of time do you have available? If you work in a 9-to-5 job, then you got to think about the time that you have to schedule toward the business. So if you say, okay, well, I work 9 to 5, I'm only going to do 2 hours when I get off work, maybe 5 to 7 or 7 to 8, or I'm only going to do that 2 hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Saturdays and Sundays only. Think about the time that you have available for this business. Think about the experience. What is it in this business that you're good at? And the thing about it is if you're not a people person, you can still get in this business, but you can do jobs like move in, move out, commercial cleaning, do jobs where less people are involved in the experience. So then you don't really have to worry about so much having to be such a friendly, polite, extra nice person if that's not your personality. And the experience, just because you clean your house don't mean that you know how to clean professionally. So I'm always one to tell people, take a little bit of time to look at some videos, look at some tutorials, look at some things that's going to help you in that experience. And I sent a Clean Like a Bee book that I use for the residential cleaners that I created, which is getting revised because the one that I sent is just like a copy. Showing you the techniques of how I show the cleaners how to clean, because that's very important that we deliver the same systems. I'm sorry?
No, I was just saying, okay.
Okay. Resources. What are your resources? What do you have available to your reach? Car, friends, helpers, money, what are your resources? Because that's important to know. Get the money that you have available. You don't want to take all your money to go broke to start your business or to be in business. So you should know, and then you should know what you want the finish line to look like, because that will navigate how much spending and how much pushing you do. Because you might be striving to be a big business when in turn, in your heart, you really don't want to be big. You really don't want to navigate 15 and 20 people. You really don't want to navigate 5 and 10 buildings. So you have to think about what is your finish line in the business. That's very important to know, because then you can just shoot for your finish line. If you feel comfortable when you get there about going over, then you go over. But at least you know where you are and you've met that milestone to then go further. Because sometimes even some of the businesses who want to be bigger get so overwhelmed shooting for big that they forget the best, better, best, the small, medium, large. They forget in between because they're shooting for maximize the maximum effect, and there's still a process that we have to go through. So you got to think about what your finish line looks like, and again, why we starting a business. So think about why you're starting a business. If you're doing it for income, because you need to make money, if you really need to bring in money, if starting a business is the way, or if you working for another company is the way, or even if you wanted to go into franchising, into a cleaning service is the way. Why would you go into it? Impact, you want to make a difference, and legacy. This is the thing. Let me explain something. I need you to think about this journey on your way. This is a journey to success, right? On this journey to success, we got 3 people in the car. Now, in the chat, I want you to put who's driving your car, and you only could pick one. Even though you might say all 3 of these apply, you only could pick one. Legacy, impact, or income. Who's driving your car right now? These are the 3 people that are in your car on your way to success. Legacy, impact, and income. These are the 3 people. Impact. Amen. Okay. So most of the time, I'm going to tell you 99% of the time, I get impact as an answer. And that is wonderful. Love it. Impact can make income. It can make income. But if you want to make income, and you want to make your most impact, and you want to leave a financial legacy and a longer lasting legacy, and specific type of a legacy, then you need to have income driving this car. The thing about it is even if you got impact sitting on the side saying, look, back up. We supposed to turn 3 blocks back that way, slow up. There's a baby. I need to see this baby and kiss and hug this baby. Whatever moves your heart that makes you give free, give services for free, work for extra, whatever that looks like for you and your business, that your impact looks like, your legacy and all that impact looks like, I need you to still understand that income needs to drive the car. That's why you began a business, a LLC, an incorporation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you wanted charity, you should have started a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see what you're saying.
But
I ain't trying to leave nobody. I ain't trying to leave no legacy. Hey, you on your own.
I can't get a little bit of money saved up. Just a little bit of money.
They getting it all now.
She's stingy, man. I could dig it.
And the reason why I say that is because, like my daughter, this is not what she would want. You see what I'm saying? Right. So I'm doing this because I would like to have some extra income. I'm retired.
Right now,
I'm still in good health, and I got the energy, and I got the want to.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So I ain't trying to leave nothing to nobody, child.
Right. So this is the income then. This is all income because this is right now money for you. This is right now money. Right. This is right now money. I understand that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I get it. So only one driver. That's your income that's driving. So who are we? Are we residential or commercial?
Well, I shared with you the other day that I'm not really wanting to do residential. I just feel like that would be so stressful for me.
Okay, that's fine.
Because it's I know some people can be something. And
that's fine.
I'm thinking that if they don't, they want it a certain way, and I do my best to give it to them, and they're never satisfied. I mean,
That's fine. That's fine. Now remember, this video is recorded, so I'm not going to let you go. Well, I don't want you to go all the way in it, but because I'm going to share this with other students.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So,
that's fine.
Yeah,
because I'd rather do commercial. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, you'd rather do commercial. And I know people have their different reasons for doing residential and doing commercial. Some people don't want the impact of having a deal because it's like working in a glass house. You know what I'm saying? You have to really deal with feelings and people's personalities and really people being very particular and things like that. And this is the thing about commercial and residential, because I think that there's levels to everything. You have some people who can really financially afford to jump right into commercial and skip never doing residential whatsoever and wait 6 weeks for the money. Do whatever it takes, have whatever thousands or hundreds of dollars for the insurances, whatever's required for that space. Then you have some people who need to grow into commercial. And that's where we might go, even if we say, I don't want to be doing residential with somebody in the house, then I'm going to do something where there's move in, move outs. Stuff where I can still get my money right here, right now, but I don't have the money that it takes to go automatically into commercial, because residential pays right here, right now, and it's minimal coverage to get started.
Oh, okay.
Where when you go into commercial, you have to be insured. You can't go into commercial with having minimal insurance. It's not going to go. You have to be fully insured going into commercial.
But you do have to be insured for residential also, right?
Well, so we'll talk about, and I'm going to pull up the book.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
When it comes to, so that's, So I'm going to go into that. But when it comes to residential, you have to just carry liability. And this is you may only have clients who only don't even ask you to verify that liability. You know what I mean? But that's some coverage you want to have and you should have. With commercials not letting you in the door without liability, which covers damage to items, workman's comp, if you're on the bigger commercial side, which covers damage to body, and then bonding, which covers theft. So there's a whole bigger animal going into commercial.
Okay.
So that's why we kind of want to work our way in if we sometimes don't have the financial to go straight into commercial like we want to. Yeah, because it's not as easy unless you start with very small mom and pop, buildings that'll just ask for the minimal liability insurance, and that's it. So you can just be insured on that route. But when you're going into Bank of Americas and Walmart's, or even, any kind of a legitimacy or big doctor's office or bigger building, they're going to want you to have workman's comp, because they're going to want to make sure that them taking a chance on you as a smaller business has no risk for them whatsoever.
Right, I understand.
So as long as you have that paperwork, they can take that chance on you. So that's going to be important too when we're out there looking to get started, as to what level we're at, because we can go into commercial. We just have to even make sure we're financially ready to go into commercial. All right, so let's see. All right, so from the move in, move outs, very minimal supplies that we need with the move in, move outs. You can shop at a Family Dollar, anything. Residential, very minimal when it comes to the move in, move outs, even on supplies. Commercial, you can play it by ear. You can go residential, but you can go Zippo commercial products, stuff like that from Lowe's and Home Depot. Some of your clients on the commercial side may already have their own supplies. So the requirements is going to differ on the commercial side all day. If you're going into government, depending on what you're doing. So if I did turnkey for housing or something like that, then I have to have certain tools, because I'm taking refrigerators unscrewed so I can unscrew and really clean under stuff. And, I'm doing a little bit more because the task's a little bit more. So just depending on, you have to have access to a certain thing, even down to if you decide to go into post-construction cleanup or something like that. The supplies that you need are different. because if you're going to do the residential side, it might be basic. You do a couple of cleanings, scrapers, different things like that. But if we're going into the commercial side, I've done a nothing but cakes. I had to have a 40-foot ladders, and we rented this machine that lifted us up to the sign to wipe the sign off. It was a lot of different things that was needed based on, if you're doing commercial or residential. You know what I mean? So it all depends on the industry, what I'm saying, and what you're doing and where you're getting into. Government stuff is the same thing as like housing authority. Housing authority, or even with your local, so local procurement. I sent a link. So let me come out of this. Let's see. So I sent the link of the application for the city of Charlotte. So it's not gonna let me see it. I sent the link for the application. In that link of the application, it asks you to put your numbers, like, and what we are when we do the application. Like when we do the application, it asks us to put numbers of things that we're willing to do. Everything that you do in business, in the cleaning business, when it comes to partnering with the city and the government and the state, is done by a number, an industry code. It's either going to be a NAICS code or a procurement industry code. So these are the codes for the city of the Charlotte's master code list. If you were to apply for the city of Charlotte in any way to be a vendor, these are some of the cleaning business codes that pertain to us or around our industry, that if you put these codes on the application, you can put as many codes as you want to on the application. When these opportunities come available, they'll send you an email and say, hey, this is what I got. You tell me what it's going to cost me to get it done by you. So like for me, I do, I'll get an email. It'll say cleaning airplanes. It can say clean up the side of the road. It can say clean up the stadium. Whatever I say, you see, it says site construction. I put landscaping and a few other things, and that's only because I got a few colleagues in my circle that do landscaping, and I pull them in for that opportunity. You know what I mean? So my circle can, benefit off of me being on procurement with the city. So, and I charge them a finder's fee if they win that bid.
Oh, okay.
So we all eat, you know what I mean? Off of that. So it just depends, I only got web design here because I do that too, but depending on what it is that you're doing, you see, I even have plant maintenance. I'm all for it. Whatever you find that you're willing to do, you're going to put that on that application. It's absolutely free when you submit it. And one of the things I like about it, this is just the cleaning business. That application, when you look at it, I always tell people, if you are a drinker, to sit down with a glass of wine and look at that list, because that master list is sign up with the vendor with the city of Charlotte. That list has stuff on it like, I don't care if you sew buttons on a shirt. They want to partner with you because they might have buttons that need to be sewn on police uniforms. They want to subcontract that out. They don't want to do it. And they don't want to hire nobody to do it. They rather sub it out to a small business in the city. So we want to make sure that we partner with the city to be able to get some of those jobs and those benefits that are available for those partnerships with the city. So let me see something else. Hold on. Back up. Back up. All right. So one of the things that I talk about, hello?
I'm here.
Oh, I thought I heard something. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hold on, I'm unmuted so I can, yeah. One of the things that I talk about in the book is when I talk about time, deciding if you want to be self-employed or a business owner. For example, like the barbershop. The barbershop, the barber comes in 1 o'clock, cuts hair, stays there 3 or 4 hours, and he may be out. The barbershop owner is going to be there from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. only because maybe that's what it says on the door. So you have to decide if you want to be the business owner, if you want to be self-employed. When you start your business and purchase your LLC or your incorporation papers with the Secretary of State, you then must decide whether you want to be a disregarded entity, a one-man show, a sole proprietor, or do you want to employ someone? Because the government will only see you as a business owner when you employ someone. And employing someone does not mean just taking something out of your check and writing yourself a check to yourself. It means paying taxes. It means a W-2. So when you're employing someone, then you are a business owner. Business owners employ people. So we have to decide if we want to be a business owner. And this is the thing about being a business owner. That's why I gave a lot of the paperwork with this class, and I gave you orientation packets and things like that, because there's policies and systems that come in this business. It can't be when Jane goes and does this, it's like this, and when Kim does it like this, it's like this. And when Mary does it like this, you need all of these services to be as uniform and to be as consistent as possible. So only that way that we can do that is with training and with a system. And if you ever want to leave legacy for your family, then it has to be wrapped up in systems, because that's the only thing, because like your family can look at you, I don't want to do this. And you can be, you know what, this started off as a side hustle and some extra money, but now you got 60 businesses, 60 companies. So you want the money to still be coming in. I mean, or you're going to just say, you know what, I'm tired, my feet hurt, these are my last years, find somebody else? Or are you going to, sell them off? What are you going to do? But there has to be something in play in the next step, next move, because business owners are forward thinkers. You have to be a forward thinker as a business owner. So what does that next step look like when that time comes, or if that time comes? What does that look like for your business? And as a business owner, it keeps going. If your grandchildren and great grands or whatever are still making money off of you, then it keeps going because of systems. So that's very important to know what you want your business to be doing. So the money, we got to position it. Insurance on the residential side, we know that some people work with it, some people work without it. So it's something that can be gotten later, but it has to be gotten now on the commercial side. Cleaning supplies always are based on how much on the service. So it is based on what you're doing, where you're doing it, and you can get stuff from. Now, this is the thing about supplies. It's always good to have two different types of supplies. Excuse me, let me drink this. You have your regular cleaning supplies, and then you have your green clean if you choose to be an industry who does that. So there's money in green cleaning. Green clean is your plant-based cleaning. You're cleaning that's safe for the environment. And you may have companies who maybe they are energy efficient and their cold cause is biodegradable and this, that, and they want a company who believes in green cleaning. So that's a benefit. It is an extra price, and we'll go over pricing, but that is something to think about when we're thinking about services for our business. Uniforms can be put later when it comes to purchasing uniforms. But again, I like the purchasing of uniforms early on, only because of looking good, even if it's just you looking good, looking professional. That's why when I got in business, companies thought I bought into a franchise because I was so well put together. I was so branded and things like that. So that's why I talk about branding and what the brand looks like here, because that's important to know who you are as a brand and what you offer with your services, your prices, and your policies, because services is important. What kind of services do you sell? And that is always should be based on resources, time and money, and you need to be strategic, because it's no use going out there trying to get all these businesses if you don't have the staff. Staff is number one. That was the biggest problem that businesses had in that cleaning business group. Every last one of them was staff. Because this is the thing, and I'm gonna tell you from my mistakes in business. I had 15 girls for 9 years, but I learned from my mistakes. My first set of people was always, let me employ people, let me give people a job, let me help them out. But then I had to learn, this is the industry that cleaning is not something that people enjoy to do. And for women, if you don't clean up at home, it's not something that you choose to really do for a 9 to 5. So it's one of those things that you get someone, this is their industry, this is all they know. So when I got that, because I got them through the unemployment office, and because they only going to send you people with that is their industry. They're strategic. They are not a hit or miss type of business. They are strategic, their eyes on the prize, and they're very intentional when it comes to setting up employees with employers. So I worked through the unemployment office, and we'll talk about that, because that was where I got my leads from. That is where my longevity came from when it came to staff, because they always paired me with people, janitorial, housekeeping, anywhere in the cleaning spectrum. That was their resume. So as long as they had a good employee, a good paying job, or some kind of a good benefit or good health insurance, something that was of value to them with that job, they stayed on the job. So that's very important to when you're picking someone for this industry. So we got to have a plan. We got to know about time. We got to think about the help that's going to be there and things like that. So let's talk about what services do we offer, from hourly, per job, general cleaning, industry specific, things like that. Because going from hourly to even per job with price and things is very important. So I sent a price list. I sent the price list. And in this price list, hold up. Uh-oh. I went too far. I sent out some different stuff. Did I add the price list? Oh, I didn't send it to you. Okay, so I gotta go back in and get this price list on here. I didn't send it to you, so let me get that right now. So many different things. So when you're doing price lists, let me see what this is. Just make sure it's in. Got a couple of Gmails. Let's see. Why are we not finding this price list? Hold on. Any other time, I'm right to my hold on. All right, so let me go back here to use this one. I'll purchase this one for her. All right, so I'll use this one I made for her. All right, so let's talk price list right now. And if you look at this price list that's here, we have deep clean prices, specific room prices, and add-on prices. Now, these are not set in stone. These prices are just for you to be able to kind of get a general scope of what you should price or kind of play with and can kind of fluctuate, because this is the lane of square footage. So if we was doing square footage, this is 1,000 square foot at about maybe $160 to $185, which should take you about an hour and a half to 3 hours. We're playing with this, and then this goes on and on and on. So you can have either one of these. That's why they're the same. Now, the average is about 20 to 30 cents a square foot when you're doing a deeper clean. You can play with those numbers. So this, again, is not written in stone, but if you wanted something to start with, so you can approach this list from either a square foot standpoint, or you can approach this list from a time up standpoint. So you can say, well, you know what? She told me it was 2,000 square foot. Okay, so this is about, where I'm gonna start from, and I'm gonna throw a couple extra hours, or I'm gonna give her $400. I'm just gonna charge her that. Or you can say, well, you know what? When I walked in there, I think it's gonna take me about, I don't know, 3 hours. Then you can start from an hourly standpoint and look and see what the numbers would run. Now, the only thing that I say about doing something about the hours on a guesstimate standpoint, I always tell people to add 2 additional hours to it, because you never know what you're going to run across. You never know what you're going to find, anything like that. So make sure that you add 2 hours to it. So I'm gonna make sure that you get this price list. I'm gonna send you this price list when you're doing your pricing. So again, this is just a general guesstimate, because they also have additional apps and tools, things from the janitorial store, different, all kinds of things. If you just want one that's like, look, if I put enough stuff in, data in this app, it'll give me a guesstimate. They do have stuff like that. But this right here, say you don't have the app, say you want to kind of play it and, do your own thing. This will give you some kind of idea as to where to start with your pricing. Now, when it comes to per room from your 1 bedroom, 1 bath, now this is, say we were pricing just general apartments. General apartments, 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 3 bedrooms, 4 bath. This is a general space. This is just a space. We're not going square footage. We're going by space. And I like to do these with apartments, not houses, because houses have so much additional room. You might have dining rooms, dens. So I don't like to, if you do this top part with a house, then go to the bottom and start adding these extra prices. So you see at the bottom, you see laundry room, 25 to 40. Extra, living room, 40 to 70. So maybe you can do that as a den. Basement. So you see these extra rooms that might be around this big house, then add them in this price down the bottom. Because this one at the top that says deep clean prices per room is really more of a base price for apartments. If you have something that's kind of uniform, the size of the location is pretty basic. You know what I mean? And not where you pull up and you might have a foyer and a mud room and this and that. It's all these extra rooms that you didn't anticipate to clean out. So that's where you were going to go into pricing all these little extra spaces. You know what I mean? And adding your own little add-on prices you see here. And then the thing of it is if they want baseboards, or if they want blinds or cabinets, or, some extras, oven cleanings and different things, we have extra prices for. So you can kind of play with the add-ons. And then I also throw in your competitors' rates, from industry rates and your what we charge. Now, this is the thing about hourly rates. So you see, I'll have here in this hourly rate, I'll have here $55 to $70 per hour is what I say our industry rate is. A discounted rate is $35 to $50 per hour. The lowest I say we'll ever go is $25 an hour. Why will we ever go $25 an hour? We go $25 an hour, say you're already in the client's home and you want to extend and stay, they need you to stay an extra hour or serve an extra little bit more time to get something done. Then you might charge them $25 for that extra hour. Another reason is the industry rate that's located here is not always in every city, because I pay a very close attention to the cleaning business group, and you have so many different cities, people in the UK, just different people all over the place who are working in the cleaning business for chump change. Like real talk, like unfortunately, but it's not chump change to them. It's what the industry and what the pay is where they live. So it's not bad money where they live at. It's the economy where they live. So these numbers could vary. You know, I've had numbers and I put these numbers out here to people from us in states where they say, I would never work for anything that low. And I'm thinking we're doing good at 55 and 70 an hour. And you have some cleaning places charging 100. Like the cleaning authority and all that stuff. They're going straight with the big industry prices and stuff like that. And they're charging like big industry. Even as a mom and pop. So it just depends really where you see your value, how much you're going to deliver, because again, you have to undersell and over deliver, and being able to meet that so that somebody understands and appreciates and really have no problem paying that money because they know you are so worth it. And that's going to be not because you feel that way, it's because you function that way. So something to think about when you're doing your rates. Something here about the general house clean versus a deep cleaning. You know, things to think about before the clean, because one of the things that when I was in cleaning, like out there in the field, and I was working in residential, and companies would pick up they'd be running around like a chicken with their head cut off, picking up their things before I came in. I didn't understand why, because the companies did not offer declutter. They did not offer, that was an additional price. Or they just didn't do it. So that's what made me become a cleaning and organizing service, because people didn't want, the bigger industry didn't do organizing and putting your things back. They cleaned and picked up and put down. Where I picked up, put back, because I wanted you to just start all over again with your mess, and I'll pick up and put back. So even if I had to increase the price because of that, it was a void I felt was needing to be filled. It was something, because the client was still running around when they had just paid for a cleaning person. So even with the commercial side of it, you have to decide, what is your general scope of work? What is it that you do and what is extra? You got to think about that when you are creating the standard for your business, because there should be a standard for your business, and you should have your general scope of work and what is considered extra. So pricing, we talked a little bit about just the pricing with that. How do you charge? Now, this is the thing about hourly. Why I like hourly. If you're going to do hourly, you may say doesn't apply to your commercial space. Hourly applies to if you're going to do your move in, move outs. You can say, I'm doing something for 4 hours for $199 for move in, move outs. You can put hours on an hourly. I'm going to tell you why hourly worked for us and made us 6 figures super fast in the residential space. Now, this is not for everyone, excuse me, but for the residential space, this works. Because in the commercial space, flat rate is definitely the way that you got to go. But you're still going to have to double back to what it comes out to be at hourly, because you're going to have to pay someone by the hour. So when I'm pricing hourly for my residential clients, I'll do a special. I might do 3 hours, $100, or 3 hours for $150, depending on what the special is. Now, when I do hourly, you're allowed to have me do whatever you need me to do within the scope of work that I do. So I do laundry, I do cleaning, cleaning appliances, I do general housekeeping, I do all of that. So because you purchase hourly from me, you can say to me, well, I have 3 hours of your time. Johnny didn't come and stay with me this summer, so I don't need his bedroom clean. Can you wipe out the refrigerator, fold those clothes, and just wipe down the window sills? I can do whatever you like because I'm based on the time. And when the time runs out, it runs out. So what I always do is when people say, okay, well, I got 3 hours, what would you suggest I get? I always steer them and then let them go from there. I say, well, most people get the things that people don't want to do. The bathrooms clean and the kitchen's clean. So we start with the hardest jobs, and then anything that's left, then I take the time to do that. So they say, well, you know what? I want my master bathroom cleaned, and my bedroom cleaned, and my kitchen cleaned. I said, well, you know what? I'll start with your master bath. I'll even do your kitchen. And if there's some time, I'll vacuum your floor, but I'll at least start with your bathroom and kitchen. Now, even if I know in my mind, I can knock all 6 of her things out, I may only promise her 4. So that if I deliver 6, I've undersold and I over-delivered, versus the time run out and now I'm stuck because I promised her 6. So you have to be careful when you plan with hourly, but it allows some of your middle income and your low income to get on board with the cleaning, because they get to move you how they want to and play a la carte. So I've had people say, hey, can you fold clothes and clean the oven? They can move me however within the services that I provide when they're doing hourly. Versus if you give me a flat rate and say, okay, for this job on a residential side, I'm gonna charge you $250. Then if you say to me, wipe out that refrigerator or clean that refrigerator, I gotta charge you $45. If you tell me to do the windows, I gotta charge you $7 per window. I gotta start calculating things, because your flat rate only included the scope of work that we agreed to at the initial sign up. So you have to, I would say, if you're going to be in the residential side, have something for both, to be able to accommodate the different levels of your population if you want to. Now, if you say I only want to serve high end, then the flat rate may work. But then you might find some people in your high end who will love for you to accommodate them with even additional, because this is the thing, if you have that even as well, if you flat rate me and you give me my flat rate at $250, but you always had something floating in my emails for 3 hours for $150, then if I ever need extra done around the house, baseboards and all those things that you do that's not in my regular plan, I'll pay for that $150 to get the extras done by you. And then some other things that I might have straight up my closet and do this and do that, because you threw that out there that was possible for me to get. So you got to be strategic when you're pricing, if that's what your space is. If you're going to contract and do commercial, and you're going to do pricing with commercial, always give your commercial clients 3 prices, not ever just 1 price. This is the thing, you need 3 opportunities to say no, never just 1, 3 opportunities. So the first price, so we're going to go to the whiteboard really quick so that you can see how I'm setting this up. Hold on. So when you're pricing with your commercial clients, you're going to give them 3 prices. So they're going to say, okay, my initial price, this is 6 months. You're only locked in for 6 months if we start the job. This is if they've never had a cleaning professional come by their establishment before. You're doing 1 deep clean, and then maybe they possibly say they want you to come in every week after that. So based on the square footage that you saw, you said I'm pricing at about $50 per hour. You think it's going to take you about 6 hours. That's about $300. So an extra 2. So that's $400. So you might charge them maybe $500 or $600. We'll say $600 for this deep clean. All right. So this is just the one initial. 6 months, no contract, no nothing. And then every week after this 6 months, they want me to come in. May take me 2 hours. I'm gonna bill them for 3 just in case it's something. So that'll normally be $150 if I did the 50 per hour, but I'm gonna charge them $199 on the high end. I'm gonna go on the high end. So now I'm coming in at $600 for my deep clean. And if you got me coming in once a week, it's just $199. This is if you start up, we're locked in just for 6 months, no problem. But then I'm gonna give you this deal. I'm gonna give you $550, say you $50. If you lock into me for 1 year from the gate, and I'm gonna give them to you for $175 a week. Now, mind you, this saves you $100 a month and $50 off the top, which also saves you $1,200 a year if you planned on doing business with me, just for locking in from a year with me already. But I ain't finished. Now, if you want to even commit yourself, because big businesses make a commitment, I might even say, you know what, I'm gonna give this to you for $515, and we're gonna do 3 years, and I'm gonna do this for $150. Now, this is the thing. I knew when I came in, I could do this at $150, but I needed to negotiate this. And I really wanted you to lock in. And I know big businesses are locked into leases for 5 and 10 years. They're not locked into small leases. So I want to stay as long as you stay. You locked in here. I want to be locked in with you. So I want you to commit. So in my contract, I have to ask you and give you 3 options to make a commitment with me. So you can get this agreement for way cheaper just by making this commitment. Now, this agreement saves you over $2,000 a year just by signing up with me, if we lock into a 3-year commitment. The commitment doesn't mean do as I say, anything that happens doesn't, happens, stuff doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. The commitment doesn't say that. What the commitment says is, the commitment says, we're locked in. I am your exclusive cleaner. And only if I do something jacked up can you say bye-bye to me. That's what the commitment says. So that's what trying to see if I
so you that, like, the first figure, the $600, the $550 or whatever, that was for the deep cleaning.
So that's if you just, I'm just playing on a small scale. This was a very small, it could have been $1,500. I'm just paying on a very small scale. You would decide what that would be. That was just me throwing a number out there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that all depends on how much time it's going to take, what the commitment is, if the person has already had a cleaner prior to you, because all of that matters. You may not have to have a deep cleaner if they already had a cleaner.
Okay, I got you.
So I like to do, when I do the walkthrough, see if I need to just maintain my own work, or if the person was doing pretty good, because we don't know the circumstances as to why they're replacing the cleaner. So It all depends, but that was just me throwing out just a figure, but it could be pretty much anything. You know what I mean? And when you're doing square footage, if you chose the price based on square footage, you can't really go solid all the way on that, because say if you got a $10,000 square foot building, and some of it's being used for heater room space and stuff like that, then you can't efficiently calculate space that you're not cleaning.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you kind of got to play with that, with the unused space when you're doing that. So I like to kind of still play with time. You know what I'm saying? To kind of guesstimate how long would it take me, and then throw some extra hours on it.
Yeah.
And go from there, because the square footage thing, it's good when you're doing stripping and waxing. It's good when you kind of guesstimate, even to the point if you like, there's a commercial job, they called me about it, and I'm just not sure. You can either call a commercial company, another commercial company, tell them the information that the other company told you, and have them price it and see what they get. You know what I mean? Because I used to have other companies price my jobs, because I just wanted to see if they was in the same price range as I was pricing.
Okay.
So I will call the other company and say, well, look, I have a job. It's I have a building. It's this, and this. I don't have time for you guys to come out. Send me an estimate. They don't know that I'm sending them information from something somebody gave me.
Right.
I just need to know how they're going to approach it, and what how they priced it, and am I make in the right arena? You know what I'm saying? Because especially in the beginning, because I used to underprice everything in the beginning. And and when it was time to upscale for staff, I was never financially prepared, because I didn't price for staff.
Okay.
And you have to price for staff in the beginning.
Right.
That's why that $50 an hour and up is very helpful to price for staff. 20% comes off the top of that for your business, goes back into your business. Your other $40 goes out to each staff and and everything else. But you have to prepare and spend the money for staff. And you have to pay to, for instance, if you're going to start them out at 15 and say, I'm going to train you, that 15 is just going to be for 90 days or 6 months. Then you'll be at $1,750. And then when you'll be a head cleaner, you'll be working at $1,950 or $2,050. That's what my head cleaners pay. And have a cap, but have something that they're working toward. Because if you're giving everyone the cap, then they'll never have anything to work toward. You know what I mean? There's never a goal in mind. There's never, oh, I'm working hard. Am I ever going to get more? There's never that if they've reached the cap. So it's helpful to have that and have room. And if you're pricing right, then you don't have to worry about filling it and saying, okay, now I'm going to raise prices for my clients because I got to have employees. You should have already had your prices raised for your client, for your employees, because they shouldn't have to pay later for you growing. You should already be, pricing for growth. So we have to make sure that we price strategically for staff.
Right.
To be involved.
Okay. I have a question. I don't have a question. I have a statement. I think I used the wrong word when I said the $600 for deep clean. That was the initial. Was that the initial cleaning?
Well, that was the initial clean, but that was if they didn't need a deep clean.
Oh, okay.
Like you have, I might have, for me to come in, if you didn't need a deep clean, I'll have an initial clean. Initial clean and the deep clean ain't the same thing.
Right.
It's just me going through everything the way my standard proceeds and then maintaining my own work. Where my deep clean, I might have been pulling some stuff out, really getting down in there. But no, just with an initial clean, I just cover everything, do a whole 360, because in my regular cleans, I don't do it through 360 every time. I rotate some of my services. You know what I'm saying? I rotate the picture glass window. I do that every other clean. I might do some of the things more than others some weeks. I rotate some of the responsibilities in the duties so that it's never, I have to have one initial clean. Like we go through like now in this building, we're doing some spring, wiping down things. I don't even charge them for it because I already charged them for it in the long scheme of things. When I gave them initial price, I already knew I was coming in every 90 days and so telling them to clean off their desk and make sure they, do certain things because I was going to do a little extra in certain areas. I already included that in the price, so I don't have to up it every time I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Every other week there's a showcase room. I'll wipe down everything in the showcase room. I only do that every other week, and then this other room maybe once a month. But I already knew that in the initial package, instead of me charging them every time I do these things. So that's why I did one initial where I did the whole shabam, and then keeping on maintaining after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a deep clean, I would have been up on ladders with duster. I would have been like all up in some stuff if I would have been deep cleaning. But just the initial clean is just me touching everything, because every week I don't touch every single thing every week. Like I might even just wipe out microwaves, my refrigerator every other week in some of the break rooms. I don't do refrigerators every week. I may not even open them every week. I open them every other week and just see what's going on and just do a wipe out. And that's not even something they require. It's just something I do every other week. So, just depending on what you decide to add in, to make sure you maintain things, because that's just, it's for me, it's like having a deep clean in pieces. Like breaking up a deep clean for the business along the way in pieces. Some things just get a little bit more thorough, but it's not all the time. But it's pretty much up to you and how you're going to price it out for the client. You can price them each time you do it, or like one of us, like when we do the training room, we charge extra every time and we bill it extra. Every time we do the training room, it's huge. But other stuff, we don't bill. Because the thing about it is sometimes we come in and we don't have to do next to nothing, but do the trashes in the bathroom and we out. And it's not like we're gonna go to them and say, here go some of your money back. So, we take the win, So here's a contract. This will go a party to your agreement. And then we're gonna take a little break. So this goes a part of your agreement. This contract, if you're giving your people a contract, when you start, you want to have some kind of to show that you're compliant. This is for commercial. So how to handle complaints that you're going to schedule within 2 days. A representative is going to contact them. You're going to come out and you're going to fix it at no cost, blah, blah, blah. Suspension of services, if they're not paying you, if they haven't paid in a certain manner of time, that you'll suspend services. I've never really had to suspend services, and I have had invoices be late, but I just know that they're just late just because of how they bill. I've never really penalized the client for having a late, and maybe one time I did. And that's because they were just sloppy with payment. And I had to suspend services. But this is, at least if you have something in writing that covers that, and if you had to put it in effect, you could, because it's in your policy. So just because you can don't mean you should. So even if you have these things in your policy, it's good to have them in your policy so that if you have to execute them, you can. You know what I mean? You don't have to worry about covering yourself if you have to. If you wanted to terminate the agreement, they have at least 2 months. Now, this is the thing about if they're in a contract and if it has been an issue, you know what I'm saying? So if it's been an issue, then they have to give you a certain amount of time to fix it. But nobody has to stay in the contract with you if you're giving them sloppy service. It's just not fair to them, and it doesn't make sense. So that is one of those things that if you have, like, say if you have an LLC, because if you're in this business, you should have an LLC, which is a limited liability company with the Secretary of State. You should be registered. One of the things about being registered with the Secretary of State in your LLC there's only 3 things that can actually breach your LLC. And that is breach of an agreement, fraud, or neglect. So if we signed this agreement and you didn't deliver, or you didn't fix it, and we can break it, and that it wouldn't mean anything. So certain things will not bind you just because we have it in black and white. The government will not support anyone doing anyone wrong, and they won't support you coming out, just somebody just misusing and abusing service and system and policy. So that's important that we have policy. So all of that is here for us. Confidentiality is super important. So we talk about that with the staff. We talk about that with our clients, just keeping our, minding our business as far as all the information that we come across. Especially if you're in commercial, you will come across clients who have checks on desks, things like that. And you want to be able, that staff knows and people know that their stuff is safe. That's why some of the companies will ask you to be bonded. They will ask you to cover yourselves, cover them in the event that somebody steals. So they will ask you to get a surety bond, which it actually here, it looks like this. It's called a surety bond, and it covers that. So some companies may ask you, say, hey, look, I want you to be covered. A bigger companies might say, I need you to be covered for like $1 million. It just depends on, what it is that the company has that they feel is of value that they need to, make sure it's straight. So I always say, if a company says, when you first start in business, at least get bonded for the minimum amount. And that could be like $5,000, very small. And it might be, and it's only a one-time payment per year. So it might be like $200. And just to get covered so that you can put it on your paperwork and say I'm bonded. It looks good for you to say I'm licensed, insured, and bonded. Your people with money, they know what it means because it means that their stuff is safe. So now if you go to a company and they call you for the job and they say, okay, I like your work. When can you start? I need you to be bonded for $200,000, but you're only bonded for $5,000. Then you just go back to the insurance company and you up your bond. You know what I mean? That's all you do. You know what I'm saying? Just making sure that you are compliant. That's it. Your agreement talks about your services, the contract period. Now, this is the thing about the contract period. So it says it's for the initial 6 months unless otherwise agreed, or you have to give 60 days notice. So one thing is about our contracts is once the year goes up or the 6 month goes up, if they don't opt out, it goes into a 1-year contract, 1 to 3 years. So they have to opt out or we're locked in. We're in love now. So you want that commitment. You don't want to have to guess if these people are going to be doing business with you or anything like that. You want the commitment. You want some information about keys, charges and payments, cancellation, and anything about inclement weather. So these are just some agreements that you just want to make sure that you have in play for the business policy. I mean, that's everything because you're getting ready to get out here and touch people's stuff. So you want to make sure that you cover. You want to make sure that you have things in play, especially when you have other people working for you. When you got other people working for you, you need some type of liability. You need some type of recourse because it's your everything. It's just a job to them. You know what I mean? So you need some type of backup. You need some type of backup. So what determines your price? Promotion or new customer? This is the thing. Even if you have a set price, you might have a client who said, you know what? God bless you. God bless you. God bless you, Miss Mendenhall. You might have a client that is a new client, but oh my God, they know a lot of people. If I give them a good deal, and I give them good work, it's going to be great. And they're going to really refer me out. So it might benefit you to give them a good price, or it might benefit you to give a new customer a good price. So sometimes having a hard price is not always a good thing, depending on who you're talking to. You know what I mean? Purchase more time or a larger job. So if it's a big job, that might determine the price. Well, like I said, if you see more work in the future, like she's a teacher and she talked to her friends, and if she tell her friends, they're gonna tell their friends, and they're gonna tell their friends, and hey, it might help that you give her, a really good rate. Or sometimes if it's just a one-time job, you might give them a big fat rate because you ain't gonna never see these people again. Let me give you a one-time price, and you don't give them a discount because they're just a one-time job. So, excuse me. So all of that plays a price. We talked about policy. Now, this is the thing. You should have 3 types of policy in business. You should have policy for your business. You should have policy between you and your employees. And you should have policy between you and your clients. There's 3 different types of policy. Because you have to have boundaries and things and rules that apply strictly for your business. And then you have to have policy that applies between the employees. And we'll go through that, covering staff and stuff. So let's really quickly, I want to take a break because that's the second half of us going through. Do you need a break, Miss Mendahl? Okay, so let's take a break.
Okay.
All right, hold on. All right. So I think we're going to start with starting the business and then go into the last steps as far as the policy and the few things that we have going on. So hold on, let's see. All right, so talked about policy. All right, so talking about our name. If you don't already have your name, what that looks like. That could be so many different things, from just the type of business you are, or if you want to do like a family name, like a legacy name, Brown's Cleaning, Mendenhall Cleaning. It just all depends on what type of business that you want. So like my cleaning business is called a clean as can be. And we're clean as can be cleaning and organizing service. So it has nothing to do with my name. It's just about the brand, and we clean as can be. You know what I'm saying? So you have to, think about what you stand for, what your mission is, what it is you do. What do you want to represent you when it comes to picking your name, whether you want a family name or do you want something that you want to franchise? Because this is the thing. Say, for instance, you say, you know what? I want this just to be money right now. And then in about 15 years, I'm not going to want to do this, but I still want to make some money off of it. You can choose to franchise this out. You can choose to let other people work in your name and become a business in your brand and franchise this out and still be making money. And they can do it based on, how your boundaries and how your rules and your system and your setup. You kind of like give them all the information and all your tools, and they operate in your name and under your brand, and your people already respect you. You've been in the game already 10 years or however long before you decide to do this. But the history of that name is what they get to work under. And so when you get to that point, people buy into that because consumers don't have to convince consumers to buy. They're already buying into a trusted name. You know what I mean? They know the name has been around. So even if you're a new owner, they know the name. I know McDonald's when I go to McDonald's. I know Cookout when I go to Cookout. Whether it's new owners or not, I know the name. So it's very important to think about it. That's one of the steps that you want to go into. And who is your client? So think about who your client is, what age, where do they live, even if it's a business. If you're going to go into post-construction, who would your client be? Construction companies, investment groups, builders. If you're going to go into window cleaning, what kind of window? Residence, commercial. If I'm going into commercial, then I'm going into who's my client? Banks, Businesses that have retail, because retail have windows. They want to show products, so they have windows. So you have to think about who is your client, what do they want to buy from you, what are their needs are, and how much they're going to spend, and then how you're going to find them. Are you going to look for them on social media? Are you going to Google for them? How are you going to look for your client? You know what I mean? Because you need to know, it's not, well, I'm in the cleaning business, so everybody's my client. You will be doing so much work and hoping stuff fall. That's like when they say you throw enough stuff against the wall and you hope it stick. That is the name of that game. And that is a lot of money and time. If you can work strategically, it is definitely for your win. So who are we? Where are we? How we're working? Let's talk about structure and setup. Any kind of insurances that you need. Think about insurances and licenses and things like that. This is all, again, based on your industry. So if you need liability insurance, your liability insurance is covering all your damage to items. Damage to items, that's what it's covering, damage to items. If you mess up somebody's floor, prime example, I actually messed up. I can be honest, I messed up in the cleaning business. I went against my own rule probably about 4 years in. And the rule is never spray on the surface, spray on the rag. And I sprayed on the surface on somebody's wall. They had all this dirt around their light switch. And I went to wipe it and wipe the paint off the wall.
No.
And I had to pay to get the whole wall repainted.
Yes. That's
and it was, because it was cheaper than my deductible, I had to pay. And it was my error because I went against my own rule, moving and sprayed the wall. But if it was bigger than the $500 that I had to pay, my insurance would have picked it up because that was my deductible. But the guy who charged me to paint it just charged me like $4 something because I didn't paint the whole kitchen. They tried to get the whole kitchen painted out of me, but I'd only painted the one wall that I damaged. But the clients tried to get the whole kitchen painted, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing it. But we got it done. But it helps in case you have that liability insurance. That's what it's for. Then your bonding, that covers your theft. Your commercial clients will want you to have it. And your workman's comp covers slips and falls. Now, if you have clients, whether it's commercial or whether you have staff, we have an agreement in our orientation packet that we're going to go through that covers injury. It's an injury waiver if you're not getting workman's comp, because that's going to be your most expensive insurance. Now, I have some clients now, some colleagues that's during cleaning, and they have a few pet stores, Pet Smarts, and they may spend $3,000 or $4,000 a month or a year, in workman's comp, but you're making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in parallel to that. So it's worth the money because those are the larger checks. Those are the 5 and the 6-figure checks when you start having to deal with the workman's comp clients. Your smaller clients may not require you to have workman's comp, but definitely if you do call, and it's the same place where you get your regular car insurance, ask them to see what a ghost policy will cost you. A ghost policy is the minimum policy of coverage for a workman's comp, just to say I have no employees yet, but I just want to get it to say that I have it. So sometimes you can just work up under that for a minute until you can get some, yourself situated. I did hear of a client say that he found a company that gave liability, bonding, and workman's comp all together for a premium of like $200 a month. I thought it was good, but at the same time, I felt like it was a kind of a rip off, but I guess they're making their money on the back end. because bonding normally only charges you a one-time fee. So the limited liability is also very low. So that bulk of that had to be the workman's comp that they're taking out of that monthly, because you can get maybe $1 million of coverage when it comes to general liability for like $40 a month, $50 a month. General liability coverage is very cheap. So that's the one thing about that. Licensing, it all depends on what you're doing. You know, if you're stripping and waxing, you might need some type of, you know, you don't need licenses for that, but this depends on what it is that you're doing. You might need certain certifications and things like that. Your LLC or your incorporation papers that actually make you a business with the Secretary of State is the only licenses you need in the state of North Carolina. They used to have you get business licenses, and you had to pay $50 a year, but they did away with the business license. And now you just have to get your business registered with the Secretary of State. So that's about it. Then you just have to get your EIN with the IRS, things like that. But other than that, that would be all the type of licenses that you would need. Anything else would be based on the industry. So all of that's just, you know, based on how you're set up. Then we have to go look at operations. And again, we got 3 different types. We talked about policy. We got in-house, which is positions, hours of operation, and the paperwork. You know, what hours are we open? You know, what's our policy? You know, who's in charge? What do they do? What is their task? So when they come in every day, what is their assignment? To check this, to make this phone call, to make sure what schedule is in effect, to make sure, you know, to any cancellations, you know, what is their job? And, you know, and even down to your cleaning people, what is their job? What is everyone's job? What is the hours? What is our policy? What will we do? What won't we do? What areas do we serve? What areas don't we serve? What is our services? You know, we have to have policy and in-house operations. Then we have delivery of service. What is our scope of work? What is stuff that is supposed to be what you do? So, because you'll have the conversation with you and staff as to what is the extra and what is included in standard service. That's why I have the training manual, because you need to know what it is that's included. So if you're wiping out a microwave in someone's house, that's included in a general clean. I don't charge anybody to wipe out a microwave, where someone else might. So I have to let my people know this is what's included in this, or this is what's not included. My standard operations on a general clean with the residential is we don't go look for sheets and pillowcases. If you want your linens changed, the sheets and pillowcases need to be on the bed. So I know that that's what you want me to do. Other than that, I'm spraying it with Lysol and making it back up. I'm not going to any cabinets or closet looking for sheets and pillowcases. But someone else might say, okay, well, why didn't you change it? Because it's a part of the policy. You have to make your own scope of work. Excuse me. You'll have to make your own scope of work so your clients can know what's included and what's not included in what you do. Your staff know what they can do, what they can't do. What if I call out, what's going to happen? If I show up late, what's going to happen? If my shift changes, or if I want to change my shift, what's going to happen? How do I go about doing that? It can't be at the end of the day, you should have done X, Y, Z. Well, you're the employer. You should have told me what to do first. And then I fall in line. That's what employers do. They employ people and they lead. So customer, and then you have your customer policy. They have their policies for, you know, you say, I want, you know, the codes. I'm not responsible for additional people you have in the building when I leave the building. I'm not responsible. You have your different policy with the people, you know, with your pricing, with your procedures. If they want to change something, if they have to change a schedule, what is your policy with your client? Do they have to pay if they call you and cancel? Those are the type of policies that we have in effect. So like here, let me show you. So this is my cleaning business's website. So first time clients, we will prefer cash. I don't like to take a check from residential clients. You can pay with a credit card, you can pay Cash App. I don't like to take no checks from clients that I just meet. We got a policy on the length of time we're clean. We got a policy on our hourly rate, a policy on our flat rate, things about inclement weather. We got even on your payment. If I have to wait for your payment, if I'm sitting there waiting to get paid, I'm charging you. If your payment is late, I'm charging you. If it's insufficient funds there, I'm charging you. If I'm in your home, we have an OSHA policy. I want to know if someone has diabetes, if I'm picking up trash and there's needles in the trash can. I need to know what's going on. Security alarms. It's just certain things that you have to have policy for. So we make sure that we have policy, and we also put in our invoices, when you make a payment, it's acceptance to our policy. So whether you choose to go here and read the paperwork we give you or read our website, it has nothing to do with it. Still stands. The policy. So that's why we have the clients to initial our invoices. Everything applies to policy. You got to make sure, especially for the name of the game we're in. So I always tell people to scout, look at the website, get some answers. You can copy and paste everything off of our site. The policy is everything in our business, because that's what you'll be up against at the end of the day in business. Time to take action, bring it to life, execution, where you're going to post your business, social media, the brand, all that stuff. So the biggest thing I like is actually creating a website for your business. Stuff like that, you can do it easy yourself, or you can brand it out. People go through GoDaddy. I tell people, go to Wix. Wix is one of the easiest platforms, because you can just type in the type of business that you're going to do, and they already have the templates already ready, and then you could just add your domain to them. So these are something that you definitely need to have an online presence. People are going to want to look you up. They're going to type in cleaning business. They're going to type in cleaning professional. They're going to type in cleaning things when it comes to. Now, when it comes to the commercial marketing, and we'll talk about that in the second class, the ways to market commercial and really get those clients, you don't find as many of them on social media unless you're going to work into the smaller space. It just depends with the commercial client. So it's just a different animal when it comes to the commercial client. But when building your platforms, you definitely still want to get a website. Wix, GoDaddy, some people are using WordPress. Whatever you're more comfortable with, you definitely still need a website. You need an online presence. You need something that can work for you when you're asleep. Because people they're up, they're looking, they're Googling, and you need to be able to be found. So we have to have some type of an online presence. Hold on. Hold on. So, all right, hold on. So really quickly, let me kind of go over some of the stuff that you have. So, speaking of policy, one of the things that you have in your email is an orientation packet. So this orientation package shows things that even we should be following as a business with policy. So the job description from the hourly, what that description is. Here we go. What that description is, what they're going to be doing, They may be passing out flyers, promoting services, cleaning, stuff like that. So, and mine only says running errands because I've had clients like a realtor. She had a regular cleaning girl. Her girl, she had broke her foot. My realtor broke her foot, and she had her same cleaning girl running her to the store sometime, running her to show houses and everything. She paid, we let them go. You know what I mean? It wasn't a problem. So she was running errands too, so hey, whatever. But that's that part, the job description. And then you're also going to have them sign an independent contract, not compete clause, independent contractor statement. It shouldn't be for employees, it's for independent contractors. They're paying, just stating they're paying their own taxes. You're not responsible for that. You're not responsible for any injury due to neglect, stuff like that, because you will have people doing crazy stuff. Non-compete. My biggest thing was this non-compete, because you don't want to teach people who work for you, and then they talk about people, they'll try, I don't know, unfortunately I've had clients ask my clients to do jobs for them on the side. They just felt bold enough, I guess, because it was me, and saying, okay, well, let me go. Went right to the client. And because I had these agreements in play, I had to remind them of this. Because a guy did a stripping and wax job, and the client didn't even know it wasn't us. And the client thanked us for the great service. And the guy wore our uniform and everything when he went over there. Told the people to pay him in his name because it was a weekend and the banks were closed or something like that. And he worked outside of us for the stripping and waxing, and said to me he didn't know we stripped and waxed. So because of this, he paid. I wanted all my money. I wanted all my money. It was such an easy closeout because we had so many agreements in play. And I make you almost sign your life away when you start with me, because I need recourse. But I never brought that to the client that I had that weak link. I never told them, but it was still in-house. You know what I'm saying? That he was just, it was ridiculous. So you have your policy. Now, when it comes to policy, I go based on points. I'm big on points. So we go through a whole orientation when we start. As talking about a contractor, they get paid on Mondays. Mondays is a day because I can guarantee somebody's there on the weekends to work if I need them to work on the weekends. If I pay them on Friday, I can forget anybody showing up to work on a Saturday and a Sunday. So I was very, very strategic. That's how the casino, I'm from Atlantic City, and that's how the casinos kept us in there on Saturdays and Sundays. So I learned. And Mondays is payday. So that's how they get paid. We talk about grooming and uniforms and how they show up, because you don't want them looking any kind of way. It looks good when they look professional, when their shirts is ironed, not just coming to work looking all wrinkled and crazy. Have a standard. And this is the thing about it. Be okay with sending somebody home when they don't comply. Don't be a desperate business that will take and accept anything because you really need the workers. Have a standard, and you show up and stick to your standard. Your workers will stick to your standard, because your workers will not want to go home, and they know that you're not playing with them. But first you start letting things slide, then things will start continuing to slide. So yeah, I've had to pull people off the schedule that came to work looking like they pulled their clothes out their pocket. And I'm like, oh no, we're a cleaning business. You can't come looking like that. Let's try this again. We have a whole policy in effect. So yeah, and I sent them home. And hey, if I have to jump in there, call somebody, pay a little extra. I'm a business, but I have policy, I have a standard, and I have other staff looking at all of this happen this way. So people like to pay foul a leader. No, not on my watch. So payday again is Monday after 2. We do a $50 shirt deposit out of their first check. to cover some of these shirts and things that you might give them down the line. I give it back. Some companies don't give it back. They'll take the $50 and keep it because they gonna give out a bunch of shirts anyway to the people. You know what I'm saying? But I give it back as long as you give me all my shirts back. I don't care in what condition, I just want all my stuff back. And I'll choose to discard it, but you won't discard it. You just give me my stuff back if you want the $50 deposit back. Everything I do is by points. This keeps people out of their feelings and keep things aligned if things are by points. So you don't have to worry about he said, she said, and oh, you said I could do this, and this was supposed to be the last time, and you're supposed to give me one more chance, and you don't have to worry about all that if you do stuff by points. So your contract, they allow 10 points per term. If they call out different things, they get 2 points. If they late, they get a point. You have these things that add up, then they know where they're at. They know where they're staying. When you issue write-ups or anything of that nature, nobody's shocked because they accumulated their own stuff. So it's important to kind of have all these things talking about raises, your injuries, parking, just all your stuff. You don't want them smoking before they're going on jobs and stuff like that. You have to have policy. That's everything is about policy. Everything is about policy. So this is not only for the staff. We want to make sure that this is something that we operate and live by as a business. Now, this resigning, this resigning, and this has to change, but this was adapted from Chick-fil-A, because Chick-fil-A, if you quit on them without giving them 2 weeks notice, they pay you a minimum wage. They want the courtesy at least exiting properly. They don't got no problem with you leaving, just leave properly. So if you're gonna quit, then you're gonna quit and get minimum wage. We talk about theft, confidentiality, and this is the thing about confidentiality, even to clients, from big commercial clients to small commercial clients. I'm adamant about confidentiality. Somebody can get robbed, things can go wrong, all because you're talking about what you see and what happening and things like that in a building or in the location you was at. You just never know who you're talking to. So I am so adamant about that. I had residential things go left. A young lady was talking to another young lady about just cleaning a guy's house the next day. And she's like, I can't go. I'm supposed to go over his house and clean and, blase, blah, blah, blah. And she not knowing that this particular woman she talks to knows the guy baby's mom. Well, you wouldn't think it was nothing, but we not knowing he claiming broke. So all we know is the girl called, my baby mama called him. Oh, you got a cleaner coming every week, but you can't pay no child support. This, that. He calls us. I don't know what's going on, but all of this because this, she spoke on cleaning his house. You know what I'm saying? And the girl knew his baby mama, and the baby mama then flipped out because he getting his house clean and he can't pay child support. It was ridiculous. We called our office going off. You know what I mean? It was like, how she know y'all and what y'all got to do with my business? And I'm like clueless. All because the worker knew somebody who knew somebody. So I say, listen, please, y'all, you just never know. So it's best to just keep your mouth closed. Keep your mouth closed. We got codes of conduct. We talk about smiling and working and never talking your personal business and stuff like that. I'm adamant about codes of conduct, appearance, hygiene. I do have them sign the drug test consent form. So this is the thing. I don't ever drug test people unless they decide they want to get injured on the job and blame me. So before you go to the hospital, let me have you pee in this cup. Because that eliminates a lot of stuff if they got drugs in their system when they decided to have an accident while they were working for you. And you'll get a lot of people who will be like, okay, you injured, you want to go to the doctor? Well, no, because they know what's going on. So I prefer to have this as a just in case in our arsenal. But if I've never had to use it, but I have drug tested when I hired in a program, because I've hired some people in a program, and that was one of my requirements, that everyone remained clean. So I drug tested. But other than that, I mean, I could care less as long as they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. You got your reference request forms. One thing about this reference request form, you mail it out, you might get lucky. You get somebody who want to talk to you and want to share information, you might get lucky. By law, nobody has to fill this reference request form out. All they got to do is tell you dates of hire and if they're eligible for employment or not. If somebody tells you anything more, it's considered killing that person's livelihood. So they don't have to tell you anything. They can just say, yes, I would hire them again, or no, and this is the dates and they work for me. But if you get lucky and have somebody who want to share and tell them about the person, then lucky you. Some people will say, mail it to me or fax it to me. And then sometimes for me, just the fact to know that you would hire them again or not, that's enough for me. Because if you tell me you wouldn't hire them again, then that speaks volumes to me. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? If a company say, well, no, I would never hire her back here. You know, say no more. What they say less, say less, say less. You know, I'm you know, you never know. So we got an injury waiver here to cover for injury, your property, their property, someone else's property. I have a wants to know you. So look, I'm going to ask you a question about this. So this is something that I give to the staff when they sign up. So I want to ask you number 3, question number 3. I'm putting it up, making it real big. Answer number 3 for me. What's the answer? I can't hear your mic is on. I'm mute.
I'm sorry, I was muted.
What's the answer?
What would you rate yourself in your cleaning habits, being the cleanest?
Okay, so what's the number for you?
That's 1.
Oh, good.
Isn't that number 1?
But you know what? But see, when most people read it, they think 1 through 10, and they give me a 10, or they'll give me a 9.
I know.
The whole thing is the eye for detail. So 8 out of 10 get this wrong. So you're the exceptional, because the whole thing is the detail. You want people to read it and not jump the gun as to what they would normally see. So they be like, oh, I'm an 8. I say, well, why are you in this business if you were 8? And they look at it again and they say, oh, okay, no, you know, 8. I'm like a 2 or 1, you know, but that's what I get.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things that I put in here, because I want to see if somebody's paying attention.
Right.
Because this is a job where you need to pay attention. Because say, for instance, you want a job, right? Even a commercial job, and then you go back and you clean and you really do some basic stuff, and then you go back in on Monday and somebody say, look at this same Cheerio and this piece of candy that's rolled on the floor that I dropped last Friday, it's still here. Because you didn't even really look down there, and they know what they dropped on their floor. But because you wasn't paying attention to detail, you just did some little basic 1-step, 2-step, and you was out. Instead of really pulling the chair out, looking down and vacuuming and pulling stuff out, really doing a really detailed job, you know, because this week, maybe, or this month, normally it's clean, but she was in there or somebody else was in there and it ain't clean this time. So you can't always count on things being the norm in our business, because things change. So I asked them in number 1 about can they lift stuff. I asked them in number 2 about back problems, because I kind of want to know in case later on I hear something about my back and all this. Well, I needed to know early on if you was already had issues. I'm always asking about if somebody wants to be a supervisor, because some people don't always want to be a team leader. And see, I had to learn that in business when I was trying to make everybody a business owner. Everybody is not meant to lead. Some people want to be led. So because this is one of those jobs where you don't always have to turn your brain on, that's why I created the checklist. You have people who don't want to turn their brain on. So if that's not someone who wants to be a supervisor, you can't make them into a supervisor and expect them to be happy in that position. They don't want to be there. So you need to know who that is that wants to excel, that don't want to be stuck in the same space, that wants the opportunity to be in charge. Because some people thrive on stuff that like that. So you want to know who that person is. So this is the checklist that kind of gets some information from your staff to know where they stand on some things. So I have that. We got our training evaluation that we, look at some of their customer service and how they clean and how they do their inspection and how they keep their records and things like that. You keep an evaluation of them when you're doing the work. So we want to make sure that we keep up with our people. One of the things I have here, you're not in residential, but we do have a checklist for residential in the mailing. So one of the things I do about the checklist is because I never wanted people to do it their way. And in case you had a bad day, your head wasn't in the game, I never wanted you to think about stuff and miss a beat. So you ain't even got to turn your brain on. Just follow the checklist. just follow this list. In case your mind is not in it, maybe on your way to work, you hot into it, something with your husband, or something happened, your tire went flat. Something can really sidetrack your brain at times. Life could be lifing, and you really can't afford it to affect the service of your business. So the checklist will help your people stay on track with stuff. So having a checklist for them to check off of your standards of what you prefer to do is very helpful. Even some of the things that you like, if you want them to do this or do that or spray this or spray that, whatever it is that you like, even if it's on your own personal thing that customers have loved about you, put it in your checklist so that you know that they'll remind them to do it. So that's important about having policy and stuff like that. We have a service agreement. And at the bottom of the service agreement, they have to sign it. I get these put on carbon. So I always say, get them done. You can get them in your Google Drive. They're always in your Google Drive. Google Drive has them. I even sent a digital one. And then I go take them to Office Depot and have them put the yellow carbon on the back of them. So I can leave the yellow carbon with the client and keep the white one for myself. So we both got a copy of what we agreed, the price we agreed to and stuff. And you're not just giving it to them, the prices. So you want to always give a service estimate and keep up with it so that you can always keep up with the price and whatever you said, because your assignments and your projects are always going to be different. This is one of them industries, a lot of it is not going to be the same. So you need to have something that'll flow with you. Do you have any questions?
No, that's a lot.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. This is what I signed up for, so I'm fine. It's so interesting though.
Yeah, this is just the first half. The second half is really the meat and potatoes of the money and the marketing and the different industries and keeping busy all year round and the different stuff that we could sell and make money with it and staying in this cleaning, space. But it's a lot. I also sent the Clean Like a Bee, and this is just a I don't think it's gonna let me open it. but it's just like a training. And it's something that I had gave to the girls because I wanted them to know how I clean, looking at buckets and supplies, what they should be carrying with them in the buckets when they walked out. You know what I'm saying? Keeping up with that part of the inventory, because everything had to be systematic. I wanted to keep up with everything, you know, when you're coming out of a client's house, doing inventory on your bucket again, because a lot of the clients, even sometimes, even in the commercial space, we have buildings that prefer that you use their own stuff. They have their own personal, like one, she loves this lemon Lysol. One of our buildings, she loved lemon Lysol. So as you even carrying that stuff around, you can load up and look in your bin at the end of the day and have a piece of their lemon Lysol. You know what I'm saying? If you don't check your stuff and put it back before you leave, you can have some of their stuff. So it's good to do inventory of your bins all the time that you're carrying around, because we do use some of their products in some of our clients. So it just depends on who you servicing, you know, whether you're doing commercial or residential. And if you're going to do commercial, to what degree? Are you going to just do cleaning? Are you going to go into doing stripping and waxing, carpet cleaning? You know, are you going to do windows? Because see, I started out doing windows, $50. I started out with $50 and had 200 clients by my second year. It was ridiculous, but I started out like, I didn't even have a computer. I went to the library. I did Microsoft Publisher flyers, basic flyers, but I put them on colored paper. So because I didn't have color flyers, they were way more money to print color flyers. You print a black and white flyer, but you put it on some bright, colorful paper. So I had it printed on yellow paper, and I would just go to neighborhoods and shopping centers and everywhere and just put my flyers out. And they always had a coupon. And I just went out, and my quota was 2,000 flyers every week. I had a quota. I went out, I had hours of operation. If my kids was, you know, off and out of school, we did it. Or if some colleagues, or if I had a new hire, the new hire had to have a criminal report. In order for you to work for me, you have to have a notarized criminal report. So if you didn't have it, it's $25 down at City Hall. And if you didn't have the criminal report or the money to get it, what you can do is put in 3 hours of doing flyers to earn $25 for me to give you to go get your criminal report. So we will go out in areas, you get on a list, you sign in a time that you want to join on that team, and you go out and give out flyers so that you can actually get your money for your criminal report. So it just depends on what the circumstance of the person was that was about to be the new hire, you know, for the job. But commercial is a little easier to staff because if you can find somebody solid, it's longevity. If you can find good people, it's consistent work. With the commercial work, you know, the checks are longer. You just have to wait for them because you're going to do 30 days, 45 days, and then you got a bill. I've waited 2 months for Walmart checks. One time, 3 months for a Walmart check. And if you have no other money coming in, your staff is not going to wait. They don't want to wait for their money. They want their money. So that's why it's good to have the move in, move out, all these different other kind of jobs that can make you money in the meantime. So that's the name of the game, and it's really having a staff first. I always recommend that because we say one man show, it's a lot. If you do really well in this industry, then more people want to do business with you. And then there's more, and then there's more, and there's more. Then you're only one person. You know, you need people to work for you and help you. You need to create in a team of two. Even in a commercial, you should have somebody doing wet work and somebody doing dry work. Wet work is the bathrooms and the floors. Anything that has anything to do with water. Your dry work is your dusting and things like that. But you need teams. Teams is what's going to get things done. So you need to employ people. You need to hire through the unemployment office. That was my best hire, the unemployment office. You know, they let you employ people with the hopes that you're going to put people as W-2 and they're going to get unemployment taxes taken out. They don't have to know that they're going to be 1099 people, an independent contractor, but they're only going to give you people who are janitorial, housekeeping. That's their expertise, whatever that industry is, nothing more. Whereas normally you might have been hiring people who just needed a job. This is not that type of industry. You want people who want to be in that industry you're in, and they just need a good reason to stay with you. Not somebody who's looking for another opportunity to leave because this is not what they wanted to do anyway. So it's very important that we hire strategically. The unemployment office helps you do that. And they do that for absolutely free to employers. So it costs you nothing to call them up and say, hey, I need XYZ and XYZ. And that was my best thing that I could have ever done in business, was hired through the unemployment office. Plus, they were already people who were looking for work. So it wasn't somebody who was sitting still and you just happen to thinking you're giving them an opportunity and they feel like they're doing you a favor. You know what I mean? Not if I'm paying you. I'm not doing you a favor. If I'm paying you, you're not doing me a favor. So you just got to think strategically for the long haul. When I stopped employing people just because I knew them and just because they needed a job and I'm trying to help them, it changed the whole dynamic of my business. So, any questions?
No questions.
No questions.